What's the deal with Albuquerque? I feel like I've been hearing a lot, like everyone always talks about how bad it is. Is that true, or is it people from Albuquerque complaining?
I mean, I think there's a truth to it in the sense that there are pretty high like crime rates in Albuquerque. Like that's.
But are they higher than normal? I know they're always high, but like recently, like in the last year, people are like, it's nightmarish. Like, and I'm trying to figure out like if it's just people over exaggerating or if it's like there's some facts behind it.
I don't know the exact like rates, but I do think like homicides are up and stuff like that. So,
really?
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
Jesus. So it's not even
violence.
Like,
yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
So like that's real for sure. I do think that to an extent, like it's not as bad as it sounds like when you hear that. Like it's like really freaky, and you're like, okay, like I'm not going to go to Albuquerque and get shot. You know what I mean? But
try going to Chicago,
right? Yeah, you know. Yeah. And I think what it comes down to is like you still have to live your life. Like it's not like I'm like in my house all day, like trying to hide out from violence in the street or whatever. Like it's like not that bad. And the reality is like a lot of people have to live in like parts of the city that maybe aren't as safe just because like that's where they've lived their whole lives or their family has lived. So yeah, I think that it gets a bad rap for sure, but I mean, there is some truth to.
Well, the Breaking Bad didn't help. Like, so even in Mexico, like people were like, even the people from Canada, they're like, oh, we're from New Mexico, Breaking Bad. Like everyone would say that. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, they probably think it's just like a giant meth town. Which
it is. No, I'm just kidding. But I love it. No, I'm just kidding.
It's a beautiful meth town.
Right. No, I mean.
But I get what you're saying. Like every city has that. But yeah, for whatever reason, I specifically was hearing stuff about Albuquerque. But you're right. Like I remember going to the wedding from some people that were worried about the violence in Mexico. And it's for sure a real thing. And for whatever reason, like social media, they'll catch on to what you're doing. I was researching a lot of stuff in Mexico because that's where we're having the wedding. And they would just show me like news stories, like shooting at resort in Mexico.
Right.
My phone would just start doing that. And I'm like, I remember at first kind of freaking out a little bit too. And then I started thinking like, I wonder what they think about us. And like, if they saw the Vegas shooting, which I'm sure the whole world did, they'd be like, oh my God, those Americans are psychotic. Like they all have guns and they're just shooting each other. And so going to your point. Yeah. I mean, that did happen. The Pulse nightclub one, we had the Aurora shootings. There was like it seems like there was a shooting all the time for like 2 years straight. And it's like, so then that actually brought me peace. I know it sounds bad, but it made me think of like, all right, they're showing me this crazy stuff in Mexico, but this crazy stuff happens here. It's all about like, you can't live your life that way. So I get it being like a little reserved or cautious, but you run risks. You don't think people die in the nice areas too, like less often, but it happens. And if you spent your whole life, like more people die in car accidents, so you're just not going to drive places, So it's a hard one, but I think, you kind of got to get out there and live that life.
I think so.
Live that life. Take some shots, man. Have you ever been?